You slip out of your mother, somewhere in the warm waters of the Pacific Ocean. You're born tail first and start sinking immediately, so your mother moves beneath you and pushes you upward with her rostrum. The surface is above you, but you can't reach it on your own yet. She lifts you higher until your blowhole breaks through and you take your first breath. The air fills your lungs, but your body rolls sideways in the water and you lose balance. You try to steady yourself, but your flippers paddle in opposite directions and you spin in place before finally straightening out. Your mother stays close, her massive body blocking the current from pushing you away. You need to stay near her to survive, so you position yourself alongside her flank and try to match her movements. But your tail kicks too hard and you drift forward, then overcorrect and fall behind. She slows down, waiting for you to catch up. Then something appears in the distance. A pod of orcas moves through the water in a loose formation, their black and white bodies cutting through the blue. Your mother turns immediately and places herself between you and them, creating a wall with her body. The orcas circle once, testing the distance, but they don't come closer. They hold their position for a while, watching, then slowly drift farther out. Your stomach tightens and you need to feed, so you move beneath your mother and locate the mammary slits along her belly. You press your mouth against one and the milk enters in thick bursts. You swallow quickly, trying to coordinate breathing and feeding, but it's difficult, and you pull away twice to surface for air. The orcas are still visible in the distance, their shapes growing smaller, but not disappearing. They're still watching, waiting for you to separate from your mother. And eventually you will. You're 3 weeks old now, and you've doubled in weight. You've been staying near the surface of the ocean, rising every few minutes to breathe through your blowhole. Your mother dives deeper to feed on krill swarms below, leaving you alone at the surface each time she goes down. You wait there, floating in place until she comes back up. But today, you want to follow her. She starts to dive, and instead of staying behind, you kick your tail and go down after her. The water around you gets heavier as you drop deeper, pressing against your body from all sides. Your lungs start to burn, but you keep pushing downward, trying to keep her in sight. Then you lose track of her. The water ahead looks empty, and you can't see which direction she went. You turn in circles, searching for her massive shape, but there's nothing. Your chest tightens and you panic, so you kick upward as hard as you can, racing back toward the surface. You break through and gasp, pulling air into your lungs with your blowhole spraying water into the air. A few seconds later, your mother surfaces beside you, calm and steady like nothing happened. She breathes slowly, then dives again without waiting. Over the next few days, you practice holding your breath longer before turning back. Each time you go a little deeper, staying down a little longer, letting your body adjust to the pressure. Your lungs are growing stronger, and the burning in your chest doesn't start as quickly as it did before. You still can't reach the depth where your mother feeds, where the krill swarms are thick enough to fill your stomach. But your body is adapting, and soon you'll be able to follow her all the way down. Skip forward a bit, and you're 6 months old now. Your mother's milk comes less often than it used to, and your stomach feels empty more frequently. Nursing doesn't fill you the way it did before, so you need to find another way to eat. During one of your dives, you swim through a thin patch of krill drifting in the water. A few of them enter your mouth by accident when you open it to call for your mother. The taste is sharp and different from milk, but you swallow them anyway. Then you see your mother ahead, moving faster than usual toward a thicker cloud of krill. She opens her mouth wide and pushes forward, engulfing the entire swarm in one motion. Her throat grooves expand outward, making her body balloon as water floods in. You want to try the same thing, so you turn toward another patch of krill nearby and kick your tail harder to build speed. You open your mouth as wide as you can and lunge forward into the cloud. Water rushes in, filling your mouth completely, but most of the krill scatter around your head before you can catch them. Your throat grooves stretch out, but you don't know how to push the water back out through your baleen. You cough hard, and the krill that made it into your mouth spill back into the ocean. Your mother circles back and feeds again, slower this time so you can watch. She closes her mouth part way and forces the water out through the sides, leaving the krill trapped inside against her baleen plates. You try again, this time closing your mouth sooner and pushing your tongue forward. Some water escapes, and you manage to swallow a small amount of krill before the rest slip away. You're still learning how to feed properly, but the krill swarms are thick here, and soon you'll need to eat tons of them every day just to keep growing. You're 8 months old now, and everything is about to change. Your mother starts swimming farther ahead during feeding dives, and the distance between you grows wider each time. She still comes back to the surface near you, but she doesn't stay as close as she used to. Then the orcas return. It's the same pod from months ago, and this time they move closer without hesitation. They spread out in a loose line, clicking and calling to each other as they position themselves around you. One of them breaks away from the group and charges straight at you with its mouth opening wide. You need to get away, so you dive as hard as you can, kicking your tail with everything you have. Your mother is already too far ahead to block them, so you're on your own. The orca stays right behind you, matching every turn you make. You try to twist left, then right, but it follows both movements without slowing down. You can't outmaneuver it, so you just keep swimming forward, pushing your body as fast as it will go. Your muscles start to burn, but you don't slow down. After what feels like forever, the orca finally falls back and stops chasing. You surface and gasp for air, spraying water from your blowhole as you breathe. You look around for your mother, but she's gone. You call out, sending deep pulses through the water that travel for miles, but there's no response. You wait at the surface, calling again every few minutes, but she doesn't come back. Hours pass, and you realize she's not going to. You're alone now. You've never had to find food or navigate without her before. You don't know where the best feeding grounds are or how to avoid the orcas when they come back, but you'll have to figure it out quickly, because this ocean doesn't wait for anyone. At 3 years old, you've grown to nearly 15 meters long. You've been following the currents toward feeding grounds where krill gathers in thick clouds, and you spend most of your time lunging through the swarms with your mouth wide open. Then you notice another blue whale feeding in the same area. It's larger than you, probably older by several years. You need to keep feeding, so you stay on the opposite side of the krill patch and work the edges where the swarm is thinner. But both of you start moving toward the center at the same time, where the krill is densest. You lunge forward with your mouth opening wide, and the other whale does the same thing. Your bodies nearly collide mid-feed, passing within meters of each other. The larger whale surfaces first and releases a powerful blow from its blowhole, then dives sharply in your direction. It doesn't hit you, but it cuts directly across your path and forces you to veer sideways. You need to show you're not backing down, so you release a deep call that vibrates through the water for miles. The other whale answers immediately with an even louder call that drowns yours out completely. It circles once, then positions itself directly over the thickest part of the krill swarm and starts feeding again. You try to move closer, but it turns toward you and releases another loud call that makes your body shake. You decide it's not worth fighting over, so you swim to a different section of the feeding ground farther away. The krill here is thinner and more spread out, but there's no competition. You feed alone, watching the other whale from a distance as it continues lunging through the densest part of the swarm. You're not the biggest whale in these waters yet, but you're still growing, and one day, you'll be too large for any other whale to push around. Skip forward a bit, and you're 8 years old now. Deep calls start moving through the water around you, coming from different directions at once. Each one is slightly different from the others, but they're all the same type. Mating calls. You need to find where they're coming from, so you follow the loudest one for hours until you locate its source. It's a massive male blue whale, even larger than you. He's releasing long sequences of calls that pulse through the ocean in rhythmic patterns. Then a female appears from the opposite direction. She's enormous, easily matching the male's size, and she swims slowly past both of you without stopping. The male accelerates immediately and positions himself alongside her, matching her speed. You want to do the same thing, so you swim faster to catch up. But the male turns sharply and slams his body into yours, forcing you off course and away from the female. You recover and try again, swimming harder this time to get closer. But he blocks you every time you approach, using his body as a barrier between you and the female. You try to go around him, but he's faster and more experienced at this. After several attempts, your body starts to tire and your movements get slower. The female stays near the male the entire time, and eventually they swim away together with their bodies moving in sync. You float at the surface, breathing heavily through your blowhole. More calls echo through the water from different directions, but you're too tired to chase them now. You need to rest and recover your strength, so you dive slowly and start feeding on a nearby krill swarm. You're big enough to compete with other males now, but not big enough to win against the largest ones. That will take a few more years of growth, and until then, you'll keep trying. You're 15 years old now, and something inside you shifts. The krill swarms start to thin out, and your body tells you it's time to move. You need to migrate, so you start swimming toward warmer waters, following a route you've never taken before but somehow recognize. You swim for days without stopping to feed, burning through the fat reserves you built up during months of heavy feeding in the krill-rich waters. Your body loses weight rapidly, but you don't slow down. The ocean around you changes as you travel. The water becomes clearer, and the krill disappears almost entirely. There's almost nothing to eat out here, just endless blue stretching in every direction. You surface regularly to breathe, but there's nothing else to do except keep moving forward. Then a pod of humpback whales passes nearby. One of them breaks away from the group and swims alongside you for several minutes, releasing soft calls as it matches your pace. You don't respond or change direction, so it eventually turns back and joins the others. Your muscles start to ache constantly after weeks of swimming. Your breathing becomes heavier, and each stroke of your tail feels slower than the last. You're still moving, but your body is running out of energy. Then the water around you stops changing. Other blue whales appear scattered across the area, their calls filling the water from multiple directions. You've reached the breeding grounds. You've made it, but your body is weaker than it's ever been. The fat reserves that kept you alive during the journey are nearly gone, and the migration back to the feeding grounds will be just as long. You'll have to survive it on whatever energy you have left, and there's no guarantee you'll make it back. At 18 years old, you start the journey back toward the feeding grounds. You've been swimming for days, but your body is running on the last of your energy reserves. Your movements are slower than they should be, and you have to surface more often just to catch your breath. You haven't eaten in months, and the krill-rich waters are still weeks away. Then a large pod of orcas appears behind you. They spread out in formation, clicking to each other as they coordinate their positions. You need to escape, so you try to swim faster, but your tail barely responds. They follow at a distance at first, tracking your movements and waiting for the right moment. One orca breaks from the group and rushes in from your left side. It tears into your flank with its teeth, ripping through blubber and muscle. You thrash once, trying to shake it off, but two more orcas latch onto your pectoral fins from both sides. You can't move them, so you try to dive deeper to get away. But they drag you back up toward the surface, holding you in place while more orcas arrive. They bite at your tail and head, tearing chunks of flesh away with each strike. You try to fight back, but your strength drains completely within minutes. Your body stops moving, so they continue feeding for a short time before swimming away. Your massive body starts to sink, dropping slowly through the water column as you go deeper and deeper. You reach the ocean floor hours later and come to rest in the soft mud. Within a day, hagfish and deep-sea crabs arrive and begin tearing at your flesh. Sharks follow soon after. Your bones will stay here for decades, feeding an entire ecosystem that depends on whale falls to survive. You don't disappear. You become part of the ocean floor itself, supporting life in the deepest parts of the sea long after you're gone.